under the leadership of our very brilliant and bold chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, Chairman Emanuel Cleaver, and our Jobs Task Force Chair, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, the Congressional Black Caucus has been hitting the street about jobs for some time now. We held 5 For the People jobs initiatives around the country in Cleveland, Miami, Atlanta, Detroit, and Los Angeles, bringing together employers who have jobs with people who need jobs. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of people showed up at each event, all wanting to share their stories, learn how to interview or network, or just strictly to apply to get a job. As we know, communities of color are feeling this great recession more than others. In fact, for communities of color, especially in the African American community, the Great Recession has been more like a Great Depression. While the national average unemployment rate is 9.1%, the unemployment rate for African Americans is 16.7% reported, and for Latinos it's 11.11%, and that is for those who are reporting that they are out there looking for work. If we consider those who have essentially stopped looking or who have given up on getting a job, we can probably double these numbers. It's very, very tragic. The For the People's Jobs Initiative, this initiative highlighted what is taking place throughout the nation. People are desperately looking for jobs. People want to work. We must pass the American Jobs Act as a first step to address the job crisis that is sweeping the nation. The jobs crisis sadly moves hand in hand with poverty. The census released some staggering numbers last month in its report, Income, Poverty, and Health Insurance Coverage in the United States. 2010, for example, 2.6 million Americans fell into poverty in 2010. That's about 7,100 people a day falling into poverty. Let me put it another way. It's like a small town falling into poverty each and every day. The poverty rates in 2010 that the census revealed are as shocking and as staggering as the unemployment numbers. The poverty rate for whites, non-Hispanics, was 9.9%. For African Americans, the poverty rate was 27.4%. The poverty rate for Latinos was 26.6%, and for Asian Pacific Islanders, 12.1%. In 2010, 15.1% of Americans were living in poverty. Now that's 46 million people. In the wealthiest and most powerful country in the world, 46 million people living in poverty, and 9.1% are unemployed. Creating jobs will improve our nation's economy and provide people pathways out of poverty. We need to target federal programs communities most in need, and we can do this by using particularly the data sets like those from the census to target programs with the highest unemployment rates and the highest poverty rates. We can extend and should extend the Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program and the Extended Benefits Unemployment Program, both of which expire early in 2012. If we don't, millions of unemployed Americans will no longer have a safety net until jobs are created. Remember, for every 4 unemployed workers seeking a job, only 1 job exists. That is a fact. We also need to pass H.R. 589, which I introduced with a fellow CBC member, a good friend, a great leader, Congressman Bobby Scott, which gives an additional 14 weeks of unemployment benefits to those eligible people who have exhausted their benefits and no longer receive this support. We have no idea today how these people are surviving in these devastating times, and we can and must continue to support them while we work to create jobs. Speaker Boehner still will not move this bill to the floor for a vote, and once again I'm going to encourage the Republican leadership to bring H.R. 589 to the floor. We also must restore the TANF Emergency Contingency Fund and increase the amount of money going to this program, which directly supports needy families with the basics and creates jobs. We also should develop and implement various cores similar to those implemented through the Work Projects Administration, the Public Land Corps, and the Civilian Conservation Corps aimed at programs and services needed in communities across this country, including Health Care Corps, Public Safety Corps, Community Corps, and Teacher Corps. We should expand the Workforce Investment Act aimed at young people, particularly 25% of teenagers who are unemployed today. In the African American community, over 40%, all losing hope for their futures. We should extend and support the expansion of on-the-job training for unemployed workers, including those who are long-term unemployed and those who have exhausted their unemployment benefits, to help them refresh their job skills and ease their reentry into the workforce. We know that these initiatives will put people back to work, and that is what the Congressional Black Caucus continues to fight for. And we have to fight against the Republican opportunistic attacks on the environment and the regulations that protect the environment and public health, which, of course, they are claiming is a jobs program. It's no jobs program. In fact, turning back the clock on many of the Clean Air and Clean Water Act will simply destroy jobs across the country, along with destroying our precious natural resources while placing human health in danger. It's completely misguided. It's a terrible move by the Republicans. They're turning a blind eye to the need of the Americans and the needs of our economy. Now, the most effective anti-poverty program is an effective jobs program, and the CBC has been working to create jobs and connecting people to jobs. We're not going to back down, and as the CBC has done for 40 years, we're going to continue to fight for jobs, justice, and equality. Our voice as the conscience of the Congress is needed now more than ever. So I want to thank again Congresswoman Donna Christensen, Chairman Emanuel Cleaver, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and all of our CBC members for bringing us together to conduct this jobs tour, to speak out tonight, each and every day on this floor in our communities on the critical issue of jobs, and to remind the Congress that people do want to work, and we should hurry up and pass the American Jobs Act